Okay, so here is the beginning of section 2.2. We're supposed to solve this equation for x. Okay, so what do we do when we're solving equations for x? Well, first we better multiply through this parenthesis. So, in fact, actually I'm going to rewrite this where we have some room here. Okay, so here's 2.2, number 1, 1/3 x plus a half equals minus 4 times 2/3 x minus 5. Okay, so I'm going to take this minus 4 and distribute through. What do we get? This is 4 over 1. Remember, any whole number, if it's interacting with a fraction, it's really over 1. So the 4 and the 2 will multiply in the top to be minus 8, and the 1 and the 3 will multiply to be 3x. But then he'll also go here, right? And 4 over 1, I should say minus 4 over 1, will also hit there, won't he? Goes to both of them. So now you don't need the over 1. It's just going to be plus 20 because there's no, I mean, you can put over 1 if you want, but that won't do anything. Does that make sense? So that minus 4 over 1 distributed to the 2/3 x and to the 5, right? He went, this minus 4 over 1 went right there and right there. Okay, let's bring down the other side. No changes here. So we got rid of the parentheses. The parentheses are gone now, right? Remember when you multiply, when something from the outside multiplies through parentheses, they drop off. Now, what do we do at this point? We have these fractions. Look at these denominators, 3, 2, 3. Remember, we're supposed to multiply through by a common denominator to get rid of them. What do 3 and 2 both go into? 6. So multiply by 6 over 1, 6 over 1, 6 over 1, and you can just write 6 here because it's not a fraction. It will be easier. Okay, so now what happens? Well, they cross cancel, right? 3 goes into 6 2 times, and we get 2x, right? 2 times 1 times x is just 2x. Plus, and 2 goes into 6 3 times, so we just get 3, right? 3 times 1 is just 3. Over 1 is still just 3. 3 into 6, 2 times 8, 16, it's negative 8, x. Plus 20 times 6, 120. All right, so we got rid of all the fractions, got rid of all the parentheses. Now we need to solve for x. What do you do when you have x's on opposite sides? We add the opposite to both sides. And what do we get here? We get 18x plus 3 is 120. Now subtract 3 from both of these. Cancels out. 18x is 117. Last step, divide by 18. And I don't think that's reducible. Well, actually, I just divided it on my calculator. I got 6.5, so that's kind of nice. Came out a nice, clean decimal, 6.5 on that one. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I've just looked at the instructions. They want a fraction, don't they? So, hold on. We're going to have to reduce that. So, how do you reduce that fraction? You can play around with numbers on your calculator, and you'll find that both the top and the bottom are divisible by 9. So what we get is 13 over 2. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to solve this. Now for number 2, we're going to solve this equation. And so you know the drill. We got a fraction. What do we do when we got a fraction? Multiply through by, it's 4 over 1, 4, 4. And these cancel, and so what comes down is 3x plus 4 is negative 32. And then subtract 4 from both sides. 3x is minus 36. Last step. Divide by 3. X is minus 12. There we go. All right, let's go back to number 3. So number 3, in certain deep parts of the ocean, the pressure of seawater in pounds per square foot at a depth d feet below the surface is given by this equation. Okay. If a scientific team uses special equipment to measure the pressure underwater and finds it to be 456, that's pressure, P, they said, right? The pressure, P, is 456. At what depth? What's D? They're asking. What's D? So they're saying P is 456. What's D? So you take that right here, and you plug in for P, 456. So that becomes 456 is 15 plus 7D over 11. I just plugged in 456 for P because they told me that's the pressure, and they want me to solve this little equation for D. How do we solve this equation for D? Well, we got a fraction. You know what to do. Multiply through by 11 over 1, 11, 11, right? It'll cancel here. It'll multiply in the other spots. Use your calculator. I'm doing my calculator right now. 11 times 456. I'm getting 5016, and 11 times 15, 165, plus, and these canceled, so just 7D. Okay, trying to solve for D. So now D wants to be alone. Subtract 165 from both sides. I'm getting 4851. Last step to get D alone, divide by 7. And my calculator tells me it's 693. It's the depth 693 feet below the surface. There it is on that one. All right, let's try number 4. We'll get it on a fresh screen here. There's room to do it. Minus 1 times x plus 7 minus 2 equals minus 5 times x minus 6. Okay, so here we have the wall. So we've got parentheses. You know what that means? Distribute through those. Minus x minus 7 minus 2, and then the minus 5. Minus 5x plus 30. And this is minus x minus 9, right? These two combine to be minus 9. Okay, now we want to get x alone. So what do you do to get x alone when it's on opposite sides? You get rid of the lower one. Minus 5x is lower than minus x. Add 5x to both sides. That cancels. And we get 5x minus 1x is 4x. This is 30. Add 9 to both sides. 39 over there, and divide by 4. Boom. There we go. We got the answer, 39 over 4. Good. Okay, so let's go to number 5. All right, so let me get some of this stuff out of the way here. So here on number 5, they're giving this equation. They're saying statins are used to keep cholesterol in check and are a top-selling drug in the U.S. There's the equation. It gives the amount of sales of statin in billions of dollars X years after 1998. According to the equation, how much did people in the U.S. spend on statins in the year 2006? Okay, So think about that with me for a minute. If it's the year, here, let me erase all this work from the previous number 3. Give us some room to work here. So if we come up here and it's the year, this one, it's the year 2006. X is number of years after 1998. It says it right here, right? X is the number of years after 98. So if it's the year 2006, how many years after 1998 is that? If you subtract, you'll get 8. That's 8 years after 1998. So X is 8. So then I take that formula, S minus 1.9X equals 4.6, and I plug in X is 8. S minus 1.9 times 8 is 4.6. Use your calculator. 1.9 times 8. I'm getting 15.2. And then you want to solve for S, so add 15.2, this is the equation, to both sides. Cancels here. So it comes on down. S, bring that down there, equals, what's that going to be? 19.8. There's the answer, 19.8. So the whole trick was X was how many years after 1998. And so in the year 2006, that means X is 8. We just plugged in X is 8 and solved for S. Okay, number 6, another fraction one. Let me go to a fresh screen for that one. So number 6, 1/5 X plus a half equals -3. Okay, they want me to solve this equation. Look at what we've got. Fractions. What do we always do when we have fractions? We got to get rid of those denominators. So we're going to multiply through by the common denominator. Something that'll cancel both 2 and 5. Something that 2 and 5 both go into. What do 2 and 5 both go into? 10. So 10 over 1, 10 over 1. And here just 10 because it's not a fraction. Same thing. All right, cancel and multiply what's left over. 5 into 10, 2 times. That's 2x. 2 into 10, 5 times. That's 5. And this is -30. Much nicer. No more fractions. Now, solve for x. Subtract 5. Boom. 2x is -35. Divide by 2. There it is. We solved for x. Let's try number 7. Number 7 is 4 parentheses 6x plus 3 plus 2 parentheses 5x plus 6 plus 6 equals 34x plus 31. That's a big equation. Okay, so let's multiply through these parentheses. We're going to get 24x plus 12, and this 2 will multiply through. 10x plus 12 plus 6 equals 34x plus 31. And then combine like terms. 24x and 10x, it'd be 34x. 12 and 12 is 24, and 6 is 30. Okay, now we have x's on opposite sides. So subtract 34x from both sides, and we get 30 equals 31. What happened? The x's dropped out. What does that mean when the x's drop out? Well, when the x's drop out, there's two possibilities. If the numbers left are equal, then they want you to say infinity, which you type in 2 O's. The way to type it into the system for infinity is you type in 0, 0, 2 O's. 2, it's not the numbers, letter O's. Not the number 0, but 2 letter O's. That's how you make infinity. And that means there's infinite solutions, but that's not our case, right? These numbers are not equal. Not equal. So when the numbers, so this is when they are equal. When the numbers left are not equal, not equal, then you type in DNE in capital letters. It stands for does not exist, meaning there's no answer to that equation. There's no answer that can make that equation true. Can't happen. Nothing's going to make it true. So again, if the x's all drop out, it's one of two cases. And how you decide, if this said 30 equals 30, then I would have typed in 2 zeros, which is a symbol for infinity. Two letter O's, I mean. The letter O. These are the letters O. And that would stand for infinity, meaning there's infinite solutions. Infinite different things can make that equation true, versus if the numbers left over are not equal, like what we got, then you say D, N, E. You type in does not exist. That's in the weird case when the x's drop out, which is what happened here. Okay, I'm going to jump to number 10. I think the 8 and 9 are the same kind of problems. Nothing special about them. Let's go to 10, which is a little different. W plus 6 over 2 plus 6 equals W plus 2 over 3. Okay. So what we want to do here is we want to solve this equation for W. So how are we going to do it? Well, again, we have fractions. You know the drill. What's the common denominator for 2 and 3? What did 2 and 3 both go into? 6. So we go 6 over 1, 6, same thing as 6 over 1, 6 over 1. And then we cross cancel. Seen this a lot of times. Now 2 goes into 6 3 times, so that'll be 3 is going to multiply W plus 6. This is 6 times 6, 36. Here, 3 into 6 2 times. It's going to be W plus 2 times 2. That 2 is going to distribute. This 3 is going to distribute. 3W plus 18 plus 36, 2W plus 4. Now, add these numbers up. What is that, 54? 2W plus 4, much nicer now, no more fractions. Got W on both sides. What do? Get rid of the lower one. Subtract 2W from both sides. And we get W plus 54 is 4. Last step to get W alone. Subtract 54 from both sides. W is minus 50. There we go. We solved for W. It was minus 50. Okay, good. Let's try number 11. 11 says minus 5 over x equals minus 3 over 3x minus 4. Okay, so here's the equation. How do we solve for x? So you know the deal. We got denominators. We got to get rid of them, right? That's our first step. So how do we get rid of those denominators? Common denominator. What do they both go into? 3x. 3x over 1. 3x over 1. And then just 3x, same thing. Okay, and then cross cancel. Multiply what's left over. X cancels x. So we have 3 times minus 5. Here, 3x cancels 3x, so we just have minus 3 minus 12x. This is minus 15. I could have just done it on that same step. Okay, no more fractions. Much nicer. X is saying I want to be alone. What do? We add 3 to both of those, and we get minus 12 is minus 12x. Last step to get x alone. Divide by minus 12. X is 1. There we go. So it's always about getting rid of the fractions, the denominators first. So number 12. X minus 2 over x minus 3/5 equals 5 over x. All right, so same kind of thing. Got fractions. Got to get rid of all the denominators. So we have x and 5 and x. So it's 5x over 1, 5x over 1, 5x over 1. And then we cross cancel. X cancels x. 5 cancels 5. 3x is left. And x cancels x. 5 times 5 is left, so that's going to be 25. Here the 5 distributes. 5x minus 10. Now 5x minus 3x just makes 2x on that side. And x is saying I want to be alone. Add the 10 to both sides. So 2x is 35. Last step to get x alone. Divide by 2. There we go. 35 over 2.